Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today I'm doing my Arkansas preview and predictions. So as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 600 subscribers before the end of August. So let's hit that goal by hitting that subscribe button down below. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below. As always, we will be getting into a bunch of college football content, and today is, well, my uncle's favorite team, the Arkansas Razorbacks. So make sure that you put your comments down below, or at least look at my uncle's comment, because I am sure it will be quite entertaining. But let's get started with today's video. Last year, I had Arkansas with a 7-5 record. They ended up with a 9-4 record with the win against Penn State in the bowl game. So I was probably one of the closest people on Arkansas, just to preface that, just so that way everybody knows. And if you want to actually check me, you can go back and look at other videos. There wasn't an Arkansas video. But I did release a podcast, and my podcast link should be down below. If not, you can look up on Spotify or Google Podcast, Chicago Sports Network, and look up last year's Top 25 where I had Arkansas in it. So, Arkansas starts the year off against Cincinnati. You should have a win here. Cincinnati is not as difficult as they were last year. Obviously, you have the loss of Desmond Ridder, but not only that, you have the loss of both the cornerbacks and Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant. You have losses like Alec Pierce on the wide receiver, and you have some offensive line losses. You have a lot of losses, and even though Arkansas did lose a lot of defensive pieces, guys like John Ridgeway, Grant Morgan, and Trey Williams, there's a lot of defensive pieces lost, but there's a lot of offensive pieces returning, which would probably make most Arkansas fans excited about that. You have KJ Jefferson returning, which is the big thing there. So I have a win here. I think that they are going to win this game, and I don't think that they're going to have too many issues with it. Then you have a home game against South Carolina. This should be a win. South Carolina, don't get me wrong, is an improved team with Spencer Rattler and the tight end that I cannot remember his name. They will be better and improved this year, and I think that they are generally going to be in a solid position-ish under Shane Beamer, but I don't think a win at Arkansas is very likely in week 2. Maybe if this game was later on in the season, maybe it's more competitive, but also Arkansas's defense is going to get better later in the season, would be my expectation. Then you have a home game against Missouri State. This is an FCS opponent. You should have no issues whatsoever, and really this game should be over by the second quarter. Then you head on to your big, almost I'd say rivalry matchup. Arkansas, put down in the description below, who's your bigger rival? LSU, Alabama, or Texas A&M? I would think it's A&M, but if you guys think it's somebody else, I don't even know what my uncle would say is your guys' biggest rival, because you guys don't have like one. It's not like a Alabama or Auburn situation going on here, or an Ole Miss State situation where you have an in-school state that they're your rival, or even like Notre Dame with USC, that was their rival. But even then, Notre Dame and USC, Notre Dame also has Michigan and Michigan State and Ohio State and other rivals too, Boston College even. Either way, point being, against Texas A&M, somebody in Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher's got to prove it to me that they can beat Arkansas, and I don't think so far that they can. So I have them winning this game here once again, back-to-back wins against the A&M Aggies, which would be the first time in quite some time. But I think with the offense of KJ Jefferson, and Raheem Sanders, or even Dominique Johnson, and then also the transfer Theo Weiss and Jaden Hazelwood at wide receiver positions, I think are good enough to get Arkansas to a place in which they need to be on the offensive end. Though defensively this could be a struggle. I really don't know how well they're going to be able to replace the production that they lost last year. But you bring back both coordinators, so I think that is at least a start. Then you have a home game against Alabama. This is going to be a really big matchup. I would guess probably top 10. If Arkansas starts off 4-0 with wins against Cincinnati and South Carolina and A&M, you're maybe looking at a top 10 matchup. But just like Georgia last year, I think Arkansas is going to lose this game. They're just such a good team, Alabama is, with Will Anderson oh my word, what is his name? I cannot. This is bad. This is really bad. Will Anderson and Bryce Young. I could not think of Bryce Young's name. But basically, between that combination of the best offensive player and the best defensive player in football, maybe, you really are going to struggle to have a hard time. And then obviously they have all sorts of depth pieces here and there. You have not only just Will Anderson at linebacker, but a bunch of other guys like Henry TuaTua and stuff like that. So it's not an easy linebacking core. Then you head to Miss State to play a road game after that. And I think with the letdown of a loss against Bama on your home turf, probably going to be a bigger loss than you would want. I could definitely see some disappointment there. And I think that you are probably going to have another loss there, especially with Will Rogers and Mike Leach being in another year. Same as Sam Pittman. I think this is his third year as a coach. Yeah, it's his third year, not as a coach, but at Miss State. I think that you could definitely see a lot of improvement, especially among Will Rogers. You have returning running back production and a lot of returning defensive production. So then you have a road game against BYU, and this is not going to be an easy matchup. I think you could lose either one, BYU or Miss State. But I think that the BYU game, that's a tough one. That is not going to be an easy game in Provo. They return almost all of their production from last year. They lose very little production. They have a really good team, and this is going to be a tough game, but I think that Arkansas ekes out a win here. I think that they lose one of the two. It really could be either one. I would not be surprised, but I think that they win this game here. Then they have a bye week, and then they play at Auburn. Going to be a tough environment in Jordan-Hare Stadium, as always, but I think that Arkansas is just better than Auburn. They've lost to Auburn the last 2 years, and very unfortunate events for Arkansas. In 2020, they most definitely should have beat Auburn. That was complete and utter baloney. What happened, that was completely a fumble and by Bo Nix, whatever. Point being is that I think that Arkansas is going to be focused on winning this game, especially with it being at Auburn, and I think you get a win there. Then you have a home game, your homecoming game of the year against Liberty. This is not the same Liberty team that had Malik Willis. They're a good Liberty team, but not elite by any means. So I have Arkansas winning this game here. Though don't be surprised if Liberty is a contender and makes this game semi-interesting. Then you have a home game against, I guess, your another rival in LSU for the Boot Trophy. I think that with this game being later on in the year, maybe it becomes competitive with Brian Kelly being there at the realm with Jaden Daniels and Kashante Boutte and stuff like that. I think that you have a lot of good pieces there at LSU, and you have a lot of talent because that is a very talent-rich state. But I think that Arkansas is the better team, and again, I really like Sam Pittman as a head coach. And I put a lot of trust in him that he'll be able to win, so I have them winning that game there. Then they have a home game against Ole Miss. This was a nail-biter last year. I saw this game as we were riding up to Notre Dame and Virginia Tech, and man, that was a heartbreaker. I was with my uncle, and I'm like, that just sucks. That game sucks. That was a tough way to lose a game. But don't get me wrong, he made the right decision in going for two. You got to go for two in a rough road environment. If it's at home and the crowd's behind you, yeah, you just kick the extra point, you go in overtime, you go from there. But if it's a road environment and Ole Miss's offense is going as well as it is, and don't get me wrong, Arkansas was doing just as well, but you just got to go for it there. You just got to go. If you lose, you lose. If you don't, then you win. So I think that they're going to win. I think that this is going to be a standpoint game for Arkansas and a statement win for Arkansas. So I have them winning that game there. Then finally, the last game of their season on a Friday night against Missouri. I don't think that they'll have many issues here, and I think that they will be able to get a win, finishing their season off with a 10-2 record. So Arkansas, what do you think? What do you think of my prediction? Make sure you put your comments down below or hit the 2 videos right here. The other one will be the playlist of all of my college football videos. Hit the subscribe button up here because it'd be greatly appreciated if you do. And as always, have a great day. Bye.